Okay, let me know if you can see and hear me. Testing, testing. Hello, hello. Who's all on? I'm by myself tonight. Oh, there's Arlene. Hey, how's it going? Awesome. Hey everybody. Okay, so I'm flying solo tonight. We just got back from vacation last night. Well, actually, it was like really early this morning, about after midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And so it's been a long day of getting things back in order at the Weber house. And so Roxy is taking care of some errands out and about, and she's not here, so she told me to go ahead and do it by myself. And I was like, no, I've never done it by myself. So anyways, we're going to have a good time, interesting about the career plan tonight. Looks like we got quite a few already on. Let's see, Arlene, hey, hey Candace, Lisa, Dawn, and Charlotte, and looks like some others. Oh, Denise in Alaska, awesome, awesome, okay. Well, thanks for dialing in, logging on. We're going to go ahead and get started. So we have the weekly team call with Brett and Roxy in Spirit for Monday, June 16th, 2014. How's it going? Hey, Alcy. Alcy's on. Awesome. Okay, so tonight we're going to get right into it, but before that I have a couple of announcements to make. Make sure that you're promoting the garage sale that's going on. I know that June sales are, they're a little bit lower than, than what you're used to. Hold on just a second, I've lost my picture. Uh-oh. Where did that go? Can you all still see and hear me? Okay, I'm going to assume that you can still see and hear me since I'm not seeing anybody say they can't. So, okay, anyways, team sales, make sure that you're promoting all the products, you're doing your events, hopefully, and doing parties still. Oh, good, you can still hear me. And be promoting that garage sale that's going on right now. It ends on the 20th, so keep that in mind. There's some good deals to be had there, and you can kind of help increase your sales and your team sales through that garage sale that's going on right now. Also, for those of you that are going to Reunion, tomorrow is the last day to book the rooms at the discounted rate at the Opryland Hotel. So make sure that you've booked your room and that you've got everything in order. Don't believe you have to pay for it. I'm almost positive you don't, because when I booked it back months ago, I didn't have to pay for it. I just had to hold it with a credit card. So you can reserve your room with just the credit card number, and they're not going to charge anything to it. But I believe the last day to do that, no, that may be the 18th. It may be Wednesday. So you have a day or two, but it's also posted in ZebraNet. So be mindful of that. And if you are going, can't wait to see you there. Make sure that you do come up to Roxy and I and introduce yourself. We're excited to meet everybody, and it's fun meeting new team members. So don't hesitate to come up and see us. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk about the Pink Zebra career plan. And since all of you are in Pink Zebra, or some of you are thinking about joining Pink Zebra, you're going to be in the career plan. And basically, if you log into ZebraNet, you can download the policy manual, and the policy manual includes the career plan, or there's a link for just the career plan portion, and you can download that and review that. And so that's what I've downloaded, just the career plan portion, and I'm looking at that. So it's 13 pages of career plan, and for the beginner it is a little overwhelming. There's a lot of information in there, and so I'm going to kind of talk about the more important aspect of the career plan. So Lisa, can't wait to meet you either, so make sure you come up to us. Okay, and if you have any questions at any time, don't hesitate to type your question out in the side, and I will try to look over there as much as I can so that I can answer your questions If not, I'll have to come back and do that at the end. So, but anyways, talking about the Pink Zebra career plan, basically there's three ways that you can make money. You have the selling phase, and this is on the first page in the career plan. The selling phase, the management phase, and the executive phase. And so in the selling phase, you're going to get 25% of all your retail sales, and then you have the ability to earn enhanced commissions, which is an additional 5 to 10%. And that is, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then the management phase is your sponsoring bonuses, your team level bonuses, and the mentoring bonus. And those are all, as you grow your team and you grow your business, you're able to get these other additional items. Then there's the executive phase, and that's for the directors and up. So we'll talk about all of that. Basically, the base commissions, the career plan, you're going to get 25% of everything that you sell. And then for everything over 900 up to 1999, almost 2000, you're going to get an additional 5%. Now that's in addition to the 25, and then anything over 2000, you're going to get another additional 5%. So you have the opportunity to earn basically 35% on all of your sales if you have over $2,000 in personal sales PV per month. So that's a great commission structure. I know that some companies out there say, well, we have 50% commission. We have this and this and this. I think Mary Kay has 50% commission or something like that. But I don't, and people will say that. They'll say, well, this company is offering 40% commission, but you may have to sell more items, and you may have to, they may be higher priced items, and so it's going to be harder to sell those. Whereas Pink Zebra, we have these amazing sprinkles, right? For $8 a jar, or however much you're charging for your sprinkles, depending on tax and all that stuff. But basically, we have an amazing product at a great price point, and then you have the simmering lights and the reed diffusers and the soaps and lotions. Everything is really reasonably priced, and you can make a great commission off that. One of the best ways to make immediate money is with parties and Pink Zebra, and doing your Pink Zebra parties and getting that 25% commission or up to 35% commission off your retail sales. That's the first way that you're going to be making money in the beginning. If you want to, if your goal is to make money, which hopefully your goal is to make money. And then once you get out of the retail, your personal sales, then you're looking at your team sales, and that's more what the career plan is the sales of your team and the growth of your team, and you basically earning off of your team sales. There's been comments before, there's been comments in our team group and other direct sales websites about, well, that doesn't seem right for me to be making money off of my team, or I don't want to bring somebody into the business and be taking advantage of them by making money off them. That's a horrible way to look at it. That's completely wrong way to look at it. What you need to be thinking, and if you have anybody like that, you can tell them this, that in the business world, if you're a manager, you're going to manage a team. And if it's a sales team, you as a sales manager will be rewarded based on the number of sales that your team does. So if your team in the business world does great, then you as their manager will be rewarded. And so you're compensated for how well your team does, and you as the manager are managing that team, and so you get a little bonus. That's the same thing in direct sales. The same setup is applied here. You're not taking advantage of anyone. You're not taking any money away from anyone. All that money, they still get everything that they would have gotten. You just get a little bonus for being the manager. And so sometimes that bonus can be a big bonus, and as you grow in the career plan, it can be a significant bonus and enable you to quit your job and stay home, and it's been great. So, but you have to work really hard to do that. And so we're going to talk about the career plan and kind of going through it. We do have something called the sponsoring bonus, and so anyone that you personally sponsor, you're going to get 7% off of their whole or their commissionable volume. Okay, so 7%, and that's no matter where you where they're placed on your team. So if you leave them on your level 1, or if you move them, if you're an executive consultant or higher, you have the ability to do binary placement. And if you have moved them to a level 2 or 3 or 4, then you're still going to get the 7% off of that person's sales. So you never lose the sponsoring bonus, and that's awesome because you have the ability to retain that 7%. And so if they're on your level 1, and you keep them on your level 1, you're going to get 7% for sponsoring them, in addition to the 3%. So a potential 10% from one person. That's great. That's absolutely awesome. So it does talk about strategic placement and binary placement. I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole nother talk, and a lot of you know how I feel about that, and we have done that and used it, and it's been great. There is a right way and a wrong way, basically, to use that, and we've done talks on that, and we'll probably do another talk pretty soon about that. Mentoring bonus. This mentoring bonus is different than a sponsoring bonus. And if you're following along with me, I'm on page 4 of the career plan, just the career plan. So the mentoring bonus is a 2% bonus of your entire team, your entire downline. So everyone, beneath you, level 1, level 2, level 3, all the way down to the next executive manager. So once you reach executive manager stage, you're eligible to receive an additional 2% on your entire team sales. Now that 2% is awesome. That 2% can double your paycheck and essentially take you from making maybe $1,500 a month to $3,000 a month. I mean, it's crazy how that 2% is phenomenal. So, but anyways, that's with the executive manager only. And now we're going to get into actually the levels or the titles of the careers within Pink Zebra. So first you have the consultant. So when you enroll as in Pink Zebra, you're a consultant, and you're going to have yourself and probably no one else yet. And so you're just a consultant. The goal of the consultant whenever they first join is to hit their quick starts, and in the course of the quick starts is to hopefully personally sponsor 2 or 3 people and get really close to reaching executive consultant. And the executive consultant is the next step. So consultant and then executive consultant. And the executive consultants, basically you're going to have at least 3 people that you've personally sponsored. Okay, 3 people on your level 1. And they are all active. So active doesn't mean that they've just joined. It means that they've joined and purchased at least $150 in the past 6 months. And that active status is a rolling status. Every 6 months, $150. So if you're looking at promoting to executive consultant, I know some of you did last month. That's awesome. Congratulations. Executive consultants, you have to have at least 3 on your level 1, and they have to be active. Okay, so if you've got 2 people that are active and 1 just joined, they're going to have to get their at least 150 in sales. But excuse me, if they just joined, they should be working on their quick starts and shouldn't have an issue of reaching that 150 in sales. Now, there's also something called being qualified, commission qualified, leadership commission qualified, and that is, or the bonus qualified, that is your 400 in retail sales per month. I have a question here. It says, Lisa says, how did I drop from 5 active to 4 active? Since that's a rolling 6-month period, you may have had someone that was had 150 in sales up to last month or whenever it was, and then they may only need maybe $20 more to become active for this next month or whatever. It's a rolling period, and so during that time, if they've ordered 25, 25, 25, 25, 25 each month, they would have to continue to order that 25 to stay active, or they place in one big order and they'll stay active until that reaches the 6-month end. So it's just that one of your people, Lisa, has reached the end of their 6-month rolling period, and that it's different for everybody. I mean, if you stopped ordering now, then your 6-month period would be from whenever your last, $150 went in, and it would keep you up until the 6th month. And then if you stopped, then, you would be inactive as well. So, and that's how that's how you lose people from being active. You just have to contact them. Sometimes they're not wanting to work the business, and then sometimes they don't realize it. And sometimes they're just, like I said, not wanting to work the business. So, but anyways, executive consultants, you have to have your 400 bonus qualified sales and your 400 in personal sales in order to maintain executive consultant status or promote to executive consultant status. And that 400 is retail value. So sometimes you maybe have seen some people post and say, well, that's only $300. The 400 is only 300, and you may think, oh, wait a minute, what are you talking about? $300? It's $400. Well, it is 400 retail value, but it's $300 wholesale value. So if you're looking at you're coming up short on hitting your $400 monthly goal, is what you're trying to make sure and get, so that you get your commission, your bonus commissions off your team. If you're short a little bit, you can figure out the wholesale value of that and put in an order maybe for yourself at the wholesale consultant price, so you're not paying a full 400 or a full 200 or full whatever to get you qualified. So just remember that the 400 is a retail value, but you as consultants have the ability to go in and put in a wholesale order, and even though you pay wholesale cost, it still counts as retail value. So just remember that. So executive consultant is the second level in the Pink Zebra career plan, and actually executive consultants are very important. I mean, I can't stress this enough, that executive consultants are the foundation of the career plan. Everything is happening on the executive consultant status. Everything is based on that. If you don't have executive consultants, everything's going to fall apart. So your goal should be to, 1, reach executive consultant status, and then 2, to start building executive consultants, and then helping your executive consultants build executive consultants, and then having them help build executive consultants. So if everyone were to reach executive consultant status, that would push you up on your team, it'd push them up on the team, everyone would get pushed up. Theoretically, if they kept on going and going and going, it's going to get to a point where people are not going to want to get, to executive consultant. You're going to have people that are going to drop off, and you can't help that, like I said. But if you can encourage them to get to executive consultant status and maintain it, okay, that's huge. Once you reach it, because you have, in Pink Zebra, you have your career title, and then you have your paid as title. So your career title will be what you've hit, okay, the highest that you've hit. So you may have hit executive consultant, and now you're an executive consultant. You can now use executive consultant on all your marketing, business cards, everything like that. But in order to maintain the paid as executive consultant, so to reap the benefits of being an executive consultant, you have to have your 400 and your 3 actives. So remember that, because like Lisa says here, she did have 5 actives, and now she only has 4. So you may be in a position to where you're an executive consultant, and you may have 3 or 4 actives, and you were okay last month, and now 1 or 2 of them has dropped off, and now you only have 2 actives, and you've got your money in, but you only have 2 actives. So you be aware of that and understand that that's how the career plan works, is it's based on the active status, okay? Once you do hit executive consultant, you're able to participate, like I said earlier, in the strategic placement, the binary placement option. The next level in the career plan for Pink Zebra is manager, and manager is the first leadership title, okay? So that's you're given jewelry at either one of the rallies or reunion. It's you're given jewelry, and then you're invited to attend the leaders only meeting at reunion. You're also placed into a leaders only Facebook group, so that managers are in there, so you can talk to other managers and have questions and all that kind of stuff answered. It's really great, and so that's the first true level of leadership. Now, even though you're an executive consultant and you're starting to build a team, you maybe have 10 or 15 people on your team as an executive consultant. You are a leader. You're getting there. But Pink Zebra recognizes manager as the first status or title of being a leader. Hence the jewelry and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about for a manager. You have to have 4 people that are on your level 1 that you've enrolled, and 2 of those have to be an executive consultant. And so 4 have to be active. You have to have 4 actives, and 2 of those, okay, 4 actives, and then 2 of those have to be executive consultant. So you know what executive consultant is, and so you can kind of plug it in and see what the numbers are. And you see here, you have to have the executive consultants. Executive consultants are what makes a manager, all right? 4 people, and then all 4 active, and then 2 of those executive consultants, they have to be paid as executive consultant, okay? And then they have to have their active people underneath them. So if you'll map out a little tree and have, you know, yourself here and then your 4 people, and then 2 of those 4 are executive consultants with their people underneath them, you can kind of see where your team is at and who's active. You can go through your system and see where everybody's at to kind of help you map it out. And there are some maps, manager maps, and I think we've posted them in our group. And if you just look through the photos section, I believe you can find those, and you can just print them out and then fill your name in the top as the manager if you're working towards manager, and then put your people in the 4 actives that you have. And you may have like you know, Lisa commented a little bit ago, she had 5 and now she has 4. Well, you would want to put those 4 people in as your active people, hoping that, you know, they maintain active, and that's only 150 every 6 months, so they should be able to. But if they don't, then you're going to have to contact them, and if they're not willing to put any money in, you're going to have to sponsor more people. That's one way. Or you could order underneath them, and I hate to promote that, but sometimes if they're just $20 from being active, sometimes you have to do that. And it's not, it's some things that you just have to do. Because if you're that close to promoting to manager, hopefully you're not going to miss out on promoting by just somebody being $20 away from being active. And so you may have to do that. But before you do any of that, make sure you encourage them. Make sure that you're sponsoring. Make sure that you're doing all those other things so that you're not having to pay any money out. Okay, that would only be like a last resort type thing. Okay, so manager, you've got your 400 that you have to have, and this 400 each month, that's for every single title to be qualified, okay, bonus qualified, commission qualified. You've got to have that 400 every single month, and again, that's retail, okay, so remember that. But for each of these, it's going to be the 400, but for manager, you have to have the 4 actives and 2 executive consultants. Now, to qualify for manager, that's all you have to have. There's a difference, and if you look in the career plan, you have qualification, and then you have maintenance, monthly maintenance. Now for executive consultant, they're both the same. To qualify for executive consultant and to maintain executive consultant is the same thing. But for manager, here's where it gets a little tricky and it gets a little difficult. Again, I said you're in a leadership position, so you're going to be required to meet certain volume levels per month. And so to maintain your manager title, you've got to have your 400 in personal sales. You've got to have your 4 active level 1 frontline team members, with 2 of them being executive consultants paid as, and then you've got to maintain 5,000 in team sales, group volume, GV, okay? And once you reach that point, you know, theoretically you could promote to manager with only 10 people, okay? 4 people on your level 1, and then 2 of those people have 3 people underneath them. 3 and 3 is 6, plus the 4 is 10. So theoretically, you could promote to manager with only 10 people. Now, you may be able to promote to manager, and you could now, that's your career title, and you can use that on all your business cards and marketing and all that stuff. But in order to maintain your manager title, you would have to have 5,000 in team sales, okay, in total group volume. And that's a little hard to do with just 10 people. So you may reach manager, and then you may drop back down. And even though you have your 400 in, you may drop down to paid as executive consultant status. And we call this a yo-yo because what happens is people promote and then they drop back down because the team sales aren't there. And then when team sales are there, they're back up. And so they've kind of yo-yoed. But that's okay. A lot of people yo-yo. We yo-yoed. Almost everybody, yo-yos. And that's perfectly fine because, like I said, you can reach manager with very few people, but in order to maintain that 5,000 group volume, that's going to take a lot more people. And another thing is that the 60% rule comes into effect when you reach manager stage. And at the 60% rule, what that is it basically says that no more than 60% of any of your team sales can come from any one leg. So let's look at the 5,000. So if you're looking and you have $5,000 in team sales, group volume, okay, 60% rule says you can't have more than 60% of 5,000. So 60% of 5,000 is 3,000, okay? So you would look at your frontline legs, your branches of your tree, okay, your team, and if any one of those legs has more than 3,000, you wouldn't be able to use all of that. You would default to 3,000. So say somebody had a really strong team and they make up 4,000 of your 5,000. Well, you wouldn't be able to use 1,000 of that. So now you're looking at, you only have 4,000. So you're hoping that the rest of your team is balanced enough and that you've created a balanced team to compensate for that 60% rule. So, and again, the 60 and 40% rule are almost a whole nother topic on this. And so we can go into more depth on that another time. But just realize that that 60% rule does start to take effect when you hit manager stage. Okay. The next one, okay, is executive manager, and this is where it takes a long time, and I'm not going to lie to you, it's hard to reach executive manager. It really is. You know, I'm an executive manager, Roxy's a director, but it took a long time to get there, and it took a lot of work. We've got several other, couple other executive managers on the team, or higher, and, well, no, not higher, because we just have executive managers, but what I'm getting at is that the time that it takes to reach manager from executive consultant can be maybe this big, okay? I mean, it may just be a couple of months, okay? It may be 6 months, I don't know. It's whatever it is, however fast you're working it, however, you know, however fast your team's growing, whatnot. But the jump to go from manager to executive manager is like this. I mean, you can't even see it in the window there, right? It's a big jump because you've got to build managers and you've got to have team volume there. So you go from having, basically, if you look at the qualifications for executive manager on page 5, okay, you go from having, you got to have your 400 in team sales, and then it says complete executive manager training. All that means is that you've attended the leadership webinars. And so once you've reached manager status, you're invited to attend monthly leadership webinars. And once you attend those, I don't think there's an actual set number, but you attend those all the time. And that completes the executive manager training. You have to have 4 active managers. Okay, so instead of having executive consultants, you now have to have managers, and you got to have 4 of them. Okay, so 4 active managers. They need to be paid as managers, and this is where it gets difficult because, again, everything's based on executive consultants. So if you've got a manager on your level 1 or somebody that's going to be a manager on your level 1, they've got to have their executive consultants in place, which means they've got to be paid as executive consultants, okay? So this whole tower can come crumbling down if one person isn't active underneath an executive consultant, underneath one of your managers. And so you've got to be mindful of that, and you've got to be watching out for that. And when you reach that point, hopefully you're talking to your upline, and they're working with you on that. I know that we've worked with Alcy when she promoted to executive manager. We worked with Jessica Washington whenever she promoted to executive manager. So whenever you're close, and we're watching out for you, we see where you're at, and we see where your sales are at. In fact, we've already kind of looked at it. I've looked at it and forecasted who I think is going to be promoting to executive manager either this fall by the end of the year or the first in the new year. And so we're watching that for you and kind of helping you out so that when you reach that point, we can help you through this process, because it is a process and it takes, it's very stressful. because you're wanting it so bad. And it's a huge jump. Like I said, you go from the 2 executive consultants on your front line, now you've got to have 4 managers, and you've got to go from maintaining 5,000 in group volume each month to generating 30,000, okay, 5,000, 30,000, and do it for 2 consecutive months, okay? So you have to do that, and then the 60% rule drops to 40%, which makes it more difficult on your team volume. So instead of everything being required at 60%, now it's no team member or no leg can make up more than 40%. Okay, so that makes it a little bit more difficult, because if you've got a rock star and they're just kind of blowing away, going on with their team, you're going to have to balance that out. So as you're building, as you're growing, be mindful of this, and that if you've got somebody that's just like a rock star and they're just going, and they're your strongest leg, okay, on your team, on your front line, if you look, you need to be sponsoring, you need to be working with other team members on your level 1 to balance that out. You want a full balanced tree, and we've talked about this before. Okay, but here's what's cool about executive manager. You get the extra 2% mentoring bonus, and then you also get the paid on your level 4 3%. And so, like I said, once you reach executive manager, your pay can double. We've seen managers that were making $1,200, $1,500, $1,700, and then go up to over $3,000 as an executive manager. So it's a huge increase in pay, but it's a lot of work to get there. Now, I'm saying this because we've had this conversation about expectations and being realistic, and your expectations aren't meeting reality, and you've got to know how long it's going to take to do this. The carrot that's dangling for you to reach executive manager is out there a ways, okay? And like I said, it's a lot further out there than from executive consultant to manager. It's, executive consultant to manager, it's like this much, and then here we are with manager to executive manager. It's a long ways. Don't get discouraged. Keep on building your team. That's the only thing that you can do, is keep on sponsoring, keep on building, keep on leading your team. But once you get there, I promise you it's worth it. I really do. I mean, that's where the big money starts coming in at executive manager. And that's how the career plan was designed, to give executive managers that mentoring bonus, and then also paid on your level 4. And so that's phenomenal. Okay, so that's executive manager. One really cool thing about executive manager, once you reach it, the monthly maintenance requirements go back to the level of a manager. So you have to work your rear off and get to the 4 managers on your level 1. You've got to have 30,000 in team sales group volume for 2 consecutive months. The 40% rule applies, but once you hit that, then your monthly qualifications go back down, and you only have to have 4 actives, and 2 of those have to be executive consultants. And you've got to have your 400 in, and then you have to maintain 15,000 in group volume with the 40% rule. So it's almost as if you kind of have it locked in once you reach executive manager, because your managers, hopefully by that time, are making good money, $700, $800, $900, $1,000 a month they're making at that time. By the time you reach it, that's what they're getting from their commission check, so they want to stay in it. So you shouldn't have a problem of maintaining 4 actives on your level 1 with 2 of them being executive consultants, because your managers will maintain that. How the qualification works is that it's got to be an executive consultant or higher. So managers count as 2, executive consultants, because they're higher than that. So basically you have that locked in, and it's really nice. But it takes a while to get there, so I want you to understand that. If you look on page 6 of the career plan, it has a diagram of all the different levels, and kind of a breakdown of what you've got to do for each one, the monthly requirements to maintain it, and then how many active team members you got to have, and the level frontline leadership, and then the award amounts, the bonus, the commission, what you're going to get for each one of those. So like I said, if you look at the executive manager, you're going to get the 2% mentoring bonus. Then you're also going to get 3% on your level 4. By that time, your level 4 is going to probably be your biggest level, because you may have 20 people on your level 1, or 10 or 15 or whatever on your level 1. Then you may have 20 or 30 or 40 on your level 2, and then you may have 50 or so on your level 3, and you may have a lot on your level 4. 3 and 4 by the time you get there. So it makes up a considerable size of your commission check. But like I said, it takes a while. So be patient. Just understand that it takes time. And those of you that are sponsored by us that are working towards that, again, we will work with you once we see your volume, your team sales getting there. We will connect with you and help you out to guide you through that process, because like I said, it is a stressful process of getting promoted. So but it's worth it. The next phase is, they call it the executive phase. So you've got your consultant, executive consultant, manager, executive manager, and then after that is director, and that's what Roxy is. She's one of the directors in the company. And so to reach director, and if you go down here, it's got the same type of qualifications listed. How they list it is the same way. Not the exact same actual qualifications, but the way that they list it is the same as the other titles. So if you go down to page 8, you can see what the director is. And I encourage you to all look at this, even if you're at the consultant stage, even if you're just a consultant right now, just a consultant. Just a consultant is awesome, because it's all based on active status, right? I mean, so you've got to go off that. But if you've joined recently, you're working towards executive consultant status, or you're working towards manager, or you're working towards executive manager, you need to be aware of what the next title is for sure. So look at the career plan and understand that, know exactly what you've got to do. There shouldn't be any surprises on, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know I had to do that. You should know exactly what you've got to do to promote, but then also look ahead. Look and see what you've got to do in the long run to make director, to hit executive director, to hit presidential director. Because you've got to have that vision. You've got to be looking and thinking long term. So you're thinking about manager, you're thinking about executive manager, you're thinking about director. Alcy and Jessica, if you're on, I don't know if Jessica's on or not, but Alcy thinking about director, I'm thinking about director, and so I'm not only looking at director, but I'm also looking ahead and looking and thinking, okay, executive director, presidential, all that, but you've got to know what you got to do now. So understand that, but also go on ahead. So I know that the director, how to qualify and maintain, won't apply to, most of the people on the call, but it's still good to understand and know what is there and what you have to do at that level. So again, you have the 400 in sales required for director. You've got to have 4 manager teams. Alcy, yes, yep. 4 manager teams, just like executive manager. And then for director, they throw in, you've got to have 1 executive manager team. So it took a long time for you to reach executive manager, Alcy, Brett. It took us a long time to reach executive manager. So it's going to take a while for us, our teams, to get a level 1 person to executive manager, right? But once we do, and we have the other 4 managers lined up, and as long as we meet all the other qualifications listed here, then that's where you promote to director. So making sure that you have your 4 active manager teams, 1 executive manager on your level 1. You've got to do 50,000 in team sales for 2 consecutive months, 50,000 in group volume, okay? And then the 40% rule applies. So, but by the time you're eligible or ready to promote to director, the team sales shouldn't be an issue. And I know you're thinking, well, it's the summer, sales are down. It is the summer, and yes, sales are down, but you're not going to probably see any big promotions to director. You may, but most likely these kind of promotions are going to come in the fall and the spring when sales are really big. And so looking at that 50,000, you've got to generate that for 2 consecutive months. Again, the 40% rule applies. So anything over executive manager and above is going to be held to the 40% rule. So executive managers, directors, executive directors, presidential directors are going to have to follow the 40% rule. and managers follow the 60% rule. Okay, maintenance again for directors. It's almost like you have it locked in because you've got to maintain your 400 in personal sales, but then you only have to have 4 active team members, with 2 of them being executive consultant, and you only have to maintain 25,000 in team sales. So you kind of get locked into that at these higher levels. So that's what I'm saying. Don't give up, because once you reach them, they're almost locked in as long as you have your sales in and you've got at least 4, which you will have, and you've got at least 2 executive consultants, which you will have at that level. So don't worry about the maintenance so much at those levels. It'll just happen naturally. Getting there is the hard part, right? It just takes time, and I know it's frustrating. You're trying to promote and things aren't happening, but also realize that it is the summer months. And we're getting ready to come into July in a couple of weeks, a week and a half or so, and July is going to be rough again. But the catalog's coming out at reunion. Okay, so in July we're going to have the new catalog, which, from the way I understand it, we're going to get that catalog, and it's going to be available. Basically, let me see the calendar here. July 20th. It's going to be available to start ordering. So we're going to have 11 days in July to order from the new catalog. So hopefully that will boost July sales. I really think that that'll help boost July sales. People will start buying some of the new things to show at parties and all that kind of stuff. And then you've got people, your customers are placing orders and stuff. Whereas in the past couple of years, they have done the catalog switchover in August. And so, and it would be like the first week in August. So you would get 3 weeks in August with the new catalog. But this year they've changed it, and it looks like we're going to get the new catalog with 11 days left in July, which will hopefully boost July sales and make July a little bit better than what it would have been without it. So that's good. And then you've got, of course, the fall coming. So like we mentioned last time about giving it time, you've got to give it time. And this fall, it's going to be like, right now it's a drought, and then the fall is the flood. And it's going to be just sales coming in if you're working your business. You got to be working your business, okay? Okay, let's get back to career plan. The next step is executive director. Right now, Pink Zebra only has 1 executive director. That's Miss Sandy Parkey. She is, if you're on this call and you're most likely in our downline, she is ultimately your upline. She is part of our upline, several levels up, and so, but she is the only executive director right now. She's been executive director, I want to say a little over a year and a half. I'm not for sure exactly, but over a year, maybe a year and a half on executive director, and that's still not the highest level in Pink Zebra yet. But for executive director, you've got to again have your 400 in sales, 4 active manager teams. You've got to have 1 executive manager team, and you've got to have 1 director team. So it's adding to. You're hoping that your managers are bumping up to executive managers, and you're hoping that your executive managers are bumping up to directors. So that's the whole point of the career plan, is to help your team grow and promote. Your goal as a leader for your business, for your team, should be to help your team members promote, because without them promoting, you're not going to promote, and without them promoting, without you promoting, you're not going to get anything. So you need to realize that you're going to get more out of this business by helping people than you're going to get otherwise. So realize that and understand that you need to be working closely with your team members, the ones that see the vision and see it, and encourage, enable, help them out, answer their questions, all that kind of stuff. So help them reach, help them to promote. If you help your team members promote, I promise you, you'll promote. It's like a natural thing that happens. So, but executive director, you've got to generate 100,000 and for 2 consecutive months. Still the 40% rule applies. And then the maintenance goes down to 50,000 a month. And I know these numbers sound like outrageous, And I remember being back in January, February, March of 2012, looking at the career plan with Roxy when she joined, and I was like, oh my gosh, 100,000, 40,000. Yeah, it's been, that's a lot. That's a whole lot. 50,000, holy crap, that's a lot of money. But once you reach that level, it's something that just happens naturally. If you're going back, let me just go back real fast. For executive manager, the kind of the I guess magic number that we're looking at as far as members on your team is anywhere between 2 and 300 people on your team to reach executive manager. I believe Jessica Washington did it with 188. I think that's the lowest amount of team members that anyone's had so far to promote to executive manager. But usually the number is closer to 250, 300 team members because that's going to generate the 30,000 in team sales. That's going to generate the volume, and then you're going to have the managers and stuff. So for those managers that are out there looking to promote to executive manager, look at your number of team members that you have, see how far you are away from 2 to 300, and see what your team sales are at, and that'll kind of give you a gauge of how much more you need to go. So then the final, as of right now, they could change this. The career plan could change. They could add more to it and make even higher levels once somebody gets to this one. But the highest level right now is presidential director, and we currently do not have presidential director. Sandy's working really hard at getting that. I know the other directors are working hard at getting to executive director. So it's kind of everybody's working to get there. But presidential director, you've got to basically have 4 executive manager teams. Okay, not manager teams, 4 executive manager teams, 1 director team, and 1 executive director team. So it just keeps getting harder and harder. And then you've got to generate 150,000 in group volume for 2 consecutive months. But like I said, if you're at that level, if you're already at that level, the maintenance requirements, the sales, the team sales requirements shouldn't be an issue. Shouldn't be an issue at all. So anyways, that's basically the career plan. It's like I mentioned earlier, it's built off of executive consultants. If you can build executive consultants, you're going to promote to manager. And if your executive consultants can build executive consultants, they're going to promote to manager. And once you have several managers, then you promote to executive manager. So it's just this cycle of building and helping people to promote to executive consultant, and then teaching them to do the same for their frontline, and so on and so on and so on. But it's going to take time, because not everybody wants to work the career plan. Not everybody wants to promote. Some people just want to sell, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Some people see the opportunity and see the huge financial rewards that can come from working this career plan and working this business, and they work it and they see it, and they're actively doing that. So if that's you, then that's great. But like I said, you may get team members that don't see that, and they're not in it for that. You can't get aggravated, and you can't get frustrated and mad at them for that. Everybody joins for a different reason, so realize that and understand that your goal may be different from somebody else's goal. You can't impose your goals on them. That's why you'll never see Roxy and I say, it's the end of the month, get your orders in, you got to get your sales in. That's not how we work it. We will say, don't forget, you need to close out anything by this time, but we're not going to say that you have to do this. We're not your boss. We're not going to force you to do anything. If you see it and you want to do it, then that's great, and we'll help you do it. We're doing decent and trying to get even better and better ourselves, and the team members that see that opportunity and that goal, that share that same goal, we work closely with them, and all you have to do is contact us. So we'll work with you. Of course, contact your upline first, but if you're one of our personally sponsored and you have these goals and you're not reaching out to us, we're not going to just say, what are you doing? How come you're not selling? We'll reach out every once in a while and say, how's it going? All that kind of stuff. But it's ultimately it's your business. We're not going to tell you how to do it. Does anyone have any questions? Take a look through here. I know it's confusing a little bit, especially if you're new, the career plan, and you're going to hear people say it's a pyramid scheme, or it's one of those get-rich-quick plans. It is not get-rich-quick. It's a crock-pot method of getting rich. It's going to take time, and it's going to take time. But it's definitely not a pyramid. The reason it's not a pyramid, if anyone talks about, and we can talk about this another time, but I'll just throw it in there. The reason it's not a pyramid scheme is because we have actual products to sell, and you're not getting commission just because somebody joins. When someone joins your team, you don't get anything unless they work. And so they work by selling actual products. And so we have actual products to sell. A pyramid scheme would be like, hey, join with me, and then anybody you can get joined, I'll pay you $10. And if everybody just pays $10 a month into this, fund, then we'll all get rich. I mean, that would be like a pyramid scheme where there's no actual products to sell. So don't get discouraged if people are like, oh, I'm not going to join that. That seems fishy to me. Everything's set up like a pyramid. Your business. You have your workers, and then you have the bosses, and then you have the vice presidents, and you have the CEO at the top. I mean, it's like a pyramid. But anyways, let's see if we got some questions here. Alcy said that Paisley said in consultant quarter, it's not been announced when we'll be able to order from the fall catalog. The only thing that I saw, and I did see this back when they did release the Paisley pick, is it did say something about July 20th on the Paisley pick at the bottom of the flyer about ordering or the next catalog or something. And hopefully they will do that like at reunion. Hopefully they won't make us wait until August. That'll be killer just on everybody's wanting to order. So we don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it'll hopefully be around reunion. Lisa says, so is it okay to contact you two instead of going through Upline if they are not giving us what we need? Encourage you to contact your Upline first. And if they're not responsive, or they're giving you a hard time, or they're not helpful at all, or they're not working their business like what you want to work their business, then feel free to go Upline again. And if that consists of messaging us, then that's okay. We don't want to step on anybody's toes. We know that your business, your team is your team, even though it all falls under, this one big team. Still your team. We're going to let you run your team how you want to, and we don't want to step on anybody's toes. But if you are not getting the help that you need to go Upline. And that's how this business model of direct sales is made, so that you have help, multiple help, upwards. And so if you're personally sponsored Upline, the person that enrolled you into Pink Zebra isn't helping, then yes, feel free to contact us, and we can help you. So, or the next person up can help you as well. Okay, any other questions? Not a lot of questions tonight, so that makes me feel like either I put you to sleep, which I hope I didn't, because I don't have my partner in crime with me here, or you just got it all down and you don't have any questions about the career plan because I explained it so good. And crickets chirping. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead, and if there's no other questions, I don't think there is. No one's saying anything. So give it just a second here. Okay, we're going to head and call it a night. So thank you all for joining the call. I appreciate it. Keep working hard. Know that it's the summertime. Know that it's slower. Know that it's going to take time. Read the career plan. Read the policy. And as always, sprinkle on. And as Roxy would say, peasy out. Bye, guys.